I'm excited to inform you that we will be watching The Weeknd perform. But before we watch him perform, we will be talking about the true identity behind The Weeknd. Now, from becoming a star boy to being able to save your tears, most of you have heard him on your radio station. Uh, so, most of his songs have made it onto the Billboard Top 100, and when it comes to mind, most of you know him as The Weeknd. But at home, he's known as Abel Tesfaye. Now, before we begin his amazing performance, I'm going to introduce you to the real person behind the name. So let's get started. The main three topics I'll be telling you about today are the years before fame, how he became The Weeknd, and his recent and past accomplishments, as well as his upcoming tour. So we'll get an introduction from the artist himself, but first, let's begin how, his child his childhood. According to Britannica.com, Abel McConan Tesfaye was born on February 16th, 1990, in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, to Ethiopian parents Samra and McConan Tesfaye. An Ethiopian and Canadian background, he has it thanks to the immigration his mother and his grandmother made from Ethiopia in the 1980s. It is the artist has mentioned that he doesn't know much about his father as he left during the early years of his childhood. So thanks to his mother and grandmother, he was raised. He was thanks to his grandmother, he was raised speaking Amharic, which is a native language of Ethiopia. He was raised after he learned English and French in school, which is another topic. But after well, he went to two schools throughout his lifetime. One which he got kicked out of, and the other which he dropped out of in 11th grade to pursue a very active party teenage life, which of course isn't the best. Um, he moved out, he ran away from home and moved out to live with friends in a one-bedroom home nearby. With this, and after looking back at his recent mistakes, he managed to get a job at American Apparel. This is where he came across, beginning his career of music. He picked up music writing and stumbled across producer and singer himself, Jeremy Rose. The producer helped him produce more music, and then he managed to create a YouTube channel, which resulted in anonymous uploads at first. Most of his songs are explicit and, of course, aren't admired by others. So let's move on to learn about how he became The Weeknd and how he gained this recognition with his music. During, I know you're starting to feel like you're 6 feet under, but I swear it's almost time for him to perform. Um, During the years 2010 2011, he began uploading more music videos. But most of them were just lyrics, and none were graphical. With his upload, he managed to gain more recognition and started gaining more fans. He also had help of, as said before, music producer Jeremy Rose. The artist managed To gain more recognition with his hit song Earned It, which was featured on the movie track of 50 Shades of Grey. With this recognition, he managed to drop 3 more songs, which also gained a lot of recognition. The songs were The Hills and I Can't Feel My Face. Along with these 2 new singles, he managed to get a collaboration with famous singer Ariana Grande, the song being called Love Me Harder. But before this all began, he dropped the song House of Balloons, which gained attention of famous Canadian rapper Drake himself. With this, Drake and the producer Jeremy Rose helped him produce his first studio album called Kissland in 2013. Now let's move on to why exactly his name is The Weeknd without an E. According to News 18, he stated that he hated his birth name and he thought that The Weeknd sounded cooler. But because there was already a Canadian band called The Weeknd, that is including the E, he chose to take out the E and chose that as his stage name. Of course, the YouTube channel became The Weeknd and it was no longer anonymous. The artist stated that he enjoyed the unique choice of his stage name and said that he hoped to become bigger in the future. Now, as we get closer to watching him perform, let's focus on his recent and past accomplishments as well as his After Hours 2022 upcoming tour. The artist is said to go on tour next year, but before I talk to you about his future tour, let me tell you about his recent and past accomplishments. According to Business Insider, the artist has won 2 Grammys, 3 Juno Awards, and many more awards since then. He has also managed to accomplish many more. The artist also performed at this year's Super Bowl during halftime, which was a big achievement. He said that he enjoyed being there and said that his theme and music felt unique considering it was a football game. The artist also mentioned that he enjoyed bringing his type of music out to more people. According to Billboard.com, the artist won 10 Billboard Music Awards this year, and it was all thanks to his hit album After Hours, which includes the hit song Blinding Lights, which most of you, I believe, have heard of. Now let's talk about his tour. The Weeknd's tour was supposed to begin last year, but of course, because of COVID, things kind of flopped around. Many artists were set to begin tours last year, but were either pushed back or canceled completely because of COVID. His tour was pushed back several months, but is finally going to start next year on January 14th and is supposed to start in his hometown of Toronto. The Weeknd said that the tour is soon to end in November of next year and hopes that many people attend, which was actually the case as his tickets are all sold out and are either being sold for excessive amounts of money or are just unavailable completely. Now, let's take a recap of what I talked to you about today. We talked about his years before fame and learned that he actually dropped out of school but managed to succeed and become a famous global artist. We talked about how exactly he chose the name The Weeknd and how he got recognition with his music. We also talked about his recent and latest accomplishments, as well as his upcoming After Hours 2022 tour. I also want you to know one thing: the dawn is coming. Thank you.